Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number M331718. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Matthew Lou Hale. Mr. Hale, is that your full name?
Yes.
Mr. Hale, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Hale, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Hale, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Hale?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Hill, your attorney of record in this case is attorney Bruce Smith. Attorney Smith is not here today. However, standing in for Mr. Smith is attorney Brennan Mitchell. Does Mr. Mitchell have your permission to stand in for attorney Bruce Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell, do you waive a record in Mr. Hill's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hill, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that on or about December 19th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Mr. Hill, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to discharge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Mr. Hill, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contingere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yeah.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yeah.
On the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yeah.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant?
Yeah.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yeah.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have a document before me that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Mr. Hill, before you signed and initialed all of these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Mitchell, go over these documents with you?
Yeah.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yeah.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. Hale, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, sir. No objection, Judge.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Mitchell, you've advised and counseled Mr. Hale. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hale, your attorney, Mr. Mitchell, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Hale, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I would also find that that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, Do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, states agree to recommend a 1 year deferred adjudication, community supervision, $750 fine for costs, 40 hours community-based service, and all other standard terms and conditions probation deems appropriate.
Mr. Hill, the state is offering that you serve 12 months deferred adjudicated probation. During this 12-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine, $750 plus court costs of $292. You will also be required to pay $60 a month. Probation fee, $15 a month for your analysis fee. You will also be required to pay a reimbursement fee of $15. Now, the total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $178 a month. Will you be able to pay the $178 each month? You will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service and adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Hill, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes,
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
I think it's fair. I wish, there was something they could do about the community service, because work every day.
You can talk to your probation officer about that. They can do something about that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, now, do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Mr. Hill, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Hill, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It would not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney, Bruce Smith, or your attorney, Brenna Mitchell, about the non-disclosure because they are quite competent in those matters. Now, Mr. Hill, you're going to stand on the X next to stand in front of our court, right here. Stand in front of our court clerk, follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. You are.
Maybe dismiss, Your Honor.
Yes, you may be excused. You have a blessed day as well.
Later.
Okay.
This is. I already got it. It's here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Before we start, I want to make for the record that, well, so let the court know that we're abandoning the enhancement paragraph, so this would be a DWI first.
Okay,
Class B.
okay. Okay. We have it written on the,
We have all the pleas.
okay, I need to put it on this here, misdemeanor plea admonishment.
I wrote it on one of them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the admonishment, I have to
Oh, okay.
admonish him as a first, and I'm stay, let me see, DWI. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is now in session. The court is in session and cause number M333124. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Corey Holland Roberts. Mr. Roberts, is that your full name? Yes. Mr. Roberts, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Roberts, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Roberts?
Good yourself.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Roberts, you're here represented by your attorney Willard Hall. Attorney Hall, how are you doing?
I'm great, Your Honor.
That's good. Now, Mr. Hall, do you waive a record in Mr. Roberts' case?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roberts, I have before me a document that is titled Information. Let's see. This document was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. Now, in this document, it alleges that you, Corey Holland Roberts, on or about August 14 of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operated a motor vehicle in a public place. And this information charges you with a Class A misdemeanor. However, the state is abandoning the enhancement allegation, so it's going to reduce it to a Class B DWI misdemeanor. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, to the Class B misdemeanor charge of DWI, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Guilty. Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
State of that. And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Now, you see some writing on this document. The writing on this document states that the state is abandoning in the enhancement paragraph. And also I erased DWI second and I wrote DWI first. And I put my initials on this document. Now, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials, CR, next to a box that says check guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
At the top of this, the next document, the title is Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box says check states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
The second statement that has a box check states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Roberts, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, sir.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Hall, you advised and counseled Mr. Roberts. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Roberts, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do,
And what is that agreement?
in exchange for, first of all, the state to agree to abandon the enhancement paragraph. In exchange for a plea of guilty or no contest, we agree to recommend 90 days probated for 1 year, $1,000 fine, court costs, 60 hours community-based service, interlock device, and even though we're abandoning the enhancement paragraph, it would be DWI repeat offender terms.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Roberts, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you will be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $407. You will also be required to pay $60 each month for a probation fee, $50 each month for your analysis fee. You'll be required to pay $15 reimbursement. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education, DWI class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you are on probation, is $211. Will you be able to pay the $211 each month?
Yes.
You will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You'll be required to install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. You'll also be required to attend and complete the DWI repeat offenders class, and you will be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Roberts, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Roberts, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Roberts, you're going to stand in front of our court clerk, follow her directions, and once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Your Honor, on my next one, I need a translator on it, but I've got one after that too, so I'm gonna have 2 more today.
Okay, let me do this. Would you have you signed up the other one, and we could do the one you need to translate it, because it'll take a little longer. We could do that after we do.
Have signed up the guy who doesn't need a translator, the English speaker. I
Right.
haven't got him off there. So
Is she here? Okay, let's get it now. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it right now.
we find Mr. Wallace.
It's Cortez. Oh.
I can't help you right now. I'm trying to type this paperwork up, so I can't just a minute, okay?
But next time, yeah.
Okay, this is cause number M324008, case style the state of Texas versus Megan Rashawn Banks. Ms. Banks, is that your full name?
Yes.
How you doing, Ms. Banks? You doing good? Ms. Banks, you represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, how are you doing?
Great, Your Honor. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Cole, what is your announcement in Ms. Banks' case?
I'd like to sit up for a hearing, Your Honor.
Okay, give us a hearing date. I think we want to do those MTRP hearings. Do it in a week that we don't have a trial.
July.
Yeah, July. Yeah, that's fine.
July
Okay,
12th works for me.
okay. That'll be July 12th of 2023. We set it for a hearing. Ms. Banks, your attorney is gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. You're welcome. Jadlyn Pittman. Jadlyn Pittman. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is called number M328604, case of style of state of Texas versus Jadlyn Pittman. Ms. Pittman, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Pittman?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Ms. Pittman. You're represented by your attorney, Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, what's your announcement in Ms. Pittman's case?
I'm also setting this for a hearing, Your Honor.
Same day.
That's fine?
So,
Okay, yeah. Just reset it on the same day, July 12th, 2023. Your case will be set for a hearing. Ms. Pittman, your attorney's gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you're free to go and you have a blessed day. Is Jesse Burks present? This is cause number M334076, case of style of state of Texas versus Jesse Burks. Mr. Burks, is that your full name? How you doing, Mr. Burks? That's good, Mr. Burks. You're represented in your case by your attorney, Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, what's your announcement in Mr. Burks' case?
Yeah, that's for a 30-day reset, just so I can look at his, some more discovery.
Okay, give us a reset date.
August.
Okay, this case is gonna be reset to August 2nd, 2023. Your attorney's gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, and just for the record, Mr. Burks has two cases, cause number M334076 and cause number M334078. Okay, and Mr. Cole, is this your last case?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
You're free to go and you have a blessed day as well. And Mr.
Norman,
hmm,
I'm sorry, Mr.
Cortez?
Yes.
Trying to find his paperwork now. Must be this right here, Rosales Cortez. Miss,
Where's the?
you gotta prove that she's
is he a citizen of this country?
He's a resident man.
Okay, so he needs to fill out, Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number M333048. The case is styled the state of Texas versus, does he pronounce it Michael or Michelle?
Sale.
Marcel? Okay, Marcel Rosales Cortez. And Marcel Rosales Cortez speaks a little English, and he does speak Spanish. And we have Miss Jennifer Araji, who is a court interpreter, who will be interpreting for Mr. Cortez. Mr. Araji, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to interpret Spanish to English and English to Spanish to help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Araji?
Good.
That's good. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. And Mr. Raji, ask Mr. Rosales, it's Michelle James Rosales Cortez, if that's his full name.
Yes.
Okay. And ask Mr. Cortez how he's doing. Good. That's good. Now, Mr. Rosales, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that on or about July 3rd of 2022, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. And do you understand what you've been charged with? And to discharge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Okay. Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And Mr. Hall, you waiving a record in this case?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Cortez, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials next to a box that's checked guilty. Are these your initials?
Yes.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature? The next document is titled Trial Court Certification of he didn't sign this one. Yeah. I also have before me a document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first document that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
The next box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
Now, going back to State's Exhibit number 1, on page 1, there is a paragraph that is titled Citizenship. And I will read this to you. If you're not a U.S. citizen,
Que si no eres ciudadano,
a plea of guilty or nolo contendere
que si en caso de contagio,
may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Do you understand that? And are you a U.S. citizen? Okay. And what country are you from? Mexico. All right. Have him initial this paragraph stating that where it says citizenship, the last one. And now, Mr. Cortez, you still want to go forward with your plea bargain?
en ese caso, lo que sabe. Sí.
Okay. Now, Mr. Cortez, I also have before me a document. This document is Spanish, however, I have one in English. This document states that it's for all foreign nationals except those from mandatory notification countries. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that says signature? Okay, who witnessed it? And Mr. Cortez, the last sentence on this document asks, do you want us to notify your consular officers at this time? And there's a circle around no. And you do not want us to contact or to notify your consular officers at this time, is that correct?
Que no quiere que informe el caso. No.
You don't
That's
want?
correct.
It's correct, okay. Now, Mr. Cortez, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just showed you, did someone go over these documents with you in Spanish?
Okay, he says that he understands a little bit of how to read, but he doesn't understand the paper.
You say he does understand the papers?
Yes.
So you're saying that you know enough English to understand the documents that is written in English that your attorney went over with you?
Yes.
Okay, now, the document that your attorney did go over these documents with you, is that correct? And Ms. Araji went over the document that's in Spanish with you, is that correct? This document, and this is the mandatory notification document.
Yes.
Now, did you understand everything that your attorney, Mr. Hall, went over with you?
It seems to me that we're looking for
De,
how to
de
do
los, de los carros, sí.
it. Yes.
And did you understand everything that Ms. Araji went over with you? Nice. Now, is everything in all of these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Yes? Okay. Now, state, I have before me states exhibits states exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer states exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, John.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objection, states exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. And just for the record, Mr. Hall, you have advised in counsel, Mr. Cortez, did you advise him of his rights, or the consequences of pleading guilty of no contest by him not being a U.S. citizen?
Yes,
And that's the requirements in Padilla versus Kentucky, the case of Padilla versus Kentucky. Now, you've also advised and counseled him. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
no,
Mr. Cortez, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. Cortez, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. And I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what's that agreement?
In exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, state agreed to recommend 90 days probated for 1 year, a $600 fine and court costs, 60 hours community-based service, standard DWI terms and conditions, Your Honor.
Mr. Cortez, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail, but you would not have to serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be on probation for 1 year. During that 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay $600 for a fine. You'll also be required to pay court costs of $452. You'll be required to pay $60 a month probation fee. You'll be required to pay $15 a month for your analysis fee. And well, you'll be required to pay a $15 reimbursement fee. And you'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI an initial evaluation fee of $125. $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments will be, the total amount that you would have to pay each month is $179. Will you be able to pay that?
Yes.
Okay. You'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete a DW education class. You'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment. And you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of DWI probation. Do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Mr. Cortez, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. You're gonna stand in front of our court clerk, follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Thank you, Mr. Rogers,
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
and you have a blessed day as well.
What do you want?
It's all right there, yes.